Dawn piercing the darkness. A blue streak of light coming through the granite sky, along with the ringing church bells, cast a magnificent spell. Dawn was about to break, and people from various factions were preparing to present themselves to the Almighty for forgiveness and blessings. 4 individuals are heading towards the isolated hill, slowly and somewhat willingly. They head up to the hill, and each standing at the nook engrossed in the sea of thoughts. No, I must do it. This is it. This is the end, Nick says. A boy born with a golden spoon in his mouth. Whenever one saw Nick Rewaha, a pang of envy struck. Flashy cars, a beautiful mansion, designer clothes and accessories, and a fleet of girls around him. Nick entered his place and is greeted by Franklin, Rewaha's most loyal servant. Is Pop due today, Franklin? I don't have any information, sir. Disappointed, Nick heads to his room and thinks about Aaron Briganza's famous pool party this weekend. Selena would be a perfect date with a vivacious personality and those big dreamy eyes. He dozes off in a luxurious custom-made bed. Around him you may see many landmarks of wealth like a wall-to-wall LED that can be handled with gestures, and a warm curtains made from authentic pashmina, especially imported from Kashmir. Nick has a vague memory of his mother because she died when he was only 4. Pop loved Mom for sure because he was devastated after her death and rarely stayed home and was usually out on business trips. Nor did Nick care as long as his desires was fulfilled. At least that's what he thought. Sometimes he woke up in the middle of the night with disturbing nightmares of someone shrieking in terror and pain. But Nick shrugged them off in the morning. At the party on weekend, beautiful Selena was on his side, and they were having the time of their life. When a boost, Carmen comes and throws a drink at Selena. She starts foul-mouthing. But Nick yawned. It was normal for the girls to fight over him. He wanders off to the other side to find himself something to eat when he heard Mrs. Briganza talking to her friend. Poor Rachel. I remember how stunning she was, and what a power couple Rachel and Darcy made. But alas, such a misfortune fell on the family. Nick is alarmed. Rachel and Darcy are the names of his parents. He wants to eavesdrop more, but the women starts chattering about other trivial things. Selena appears from behind and tells him that she gave some hard lessons to Carmen, and now she'll never come between Nick and she. Oh, honey, are you okay? She feels Nick is a little disarmed, but he composes herself and says that he has to go somewhere. He heads home without her. Pop, when are you returning from Spain? Nick asks eagerly. Not so soon, son. Have to finalize some deals. If you need some stash, ask Remington to provide you. Mr. Darcy hangs off without bothering to listen further. Then Nick does something he would have never thought of doing in ordinary circumstances. He invades his parents' room. The wardrobe, the safe, and the drawers. Everything is an open book, as it seems Mr. Darcy has nothing to hide. Then going through an old chest, his mother's most pricey antique, he finds a red and gold engraved diary. He turns to the first page and his horror, the words, "My dear bird," comes. Then as he goes on further, he freezes, because it showed, "I don't love Darcy. But we're having a child together. Let's name him Nick." Nick shudders, so her mother was being infidel to his father. How can that be possible? They were so much in love. His father never remarried, and he drowned himself in business activities that he didn't care. Not about Nick as well. At least that is what Nick thought. He placed the diary back on his chest. Franklin was watching him close. "Master Nick, you were not supposed to go there. What actually happened, Franklin? How did my mother die?" "I'm not supposed to reveal my lips are sealed by my utmost loyalty," declared Franklin. Then Pop suddenly arrived the next day. Maybe Franklin told him everything. Nick looked at him questioningly. "Yes, your mother didn't love me, unfortunately. She fell in love with my business partner, birth results. I didn't know about it until she conceived you. You see, son, medically I was not capable of becoming a father. Then everything sank into Nick's heart, he being illegitimate and worthless. Darcy, on reading his thoughts, said, But I have always considered you my son, and was ready to forgive Rachel, but she was so obstinate. She continued her felon even when you became 4 years old, and one day she took her life, because Bert had found another woman of his fancy. You see, he was using your mother to take over my business, but destiny had other plans. That explained the shrieks and nightmares, because unfortunately, Nick had witnessed his mother killing herself by cutting her wrists. Why didn't you send me to an orphanage, Pop? How could I? What was the fault of an innocent child? Cried Darcy. Trust me, I didn't want you to find out about your mother like this. Nick is devastated. Soothing words of Darcy couldn't heal him. How will he face his friends? Everybody knew his mother's a felon. How could he face society? A big how. No, he shouldn't live. He's a taboo to Darcy's life as well. He must take his life. So the three listened to him intently. I must die a painful death. This isn't painful enough. Come with me. I'll take you all to a place where you will die painfully, washing away your sins, says Jacob. So off they follow him like puppies. He takes them to a road. One of them lay on the road so that a truck could pass through him, but Jacob picks him up and tells him to be patient. One sees a tree and tries to look for a rope to hang from it, but Jacob slaps him and tells him to follow him obediently. They pass through train tracks and tall buildings, thinking maybe those were the sources. Jacob reads their minds and assures them to follow suit. The daylight spreads like butter on the toast of the sky, depicting a new beginning for the beings. But those individuals with darkened hearts have no effect. Then they reach the mighty and mythical salt mines, where Jacob tells them to wait. He then talks to the supervisor, who agrees to take them inside. Jacob then takes them through a wide and lighted labyrinth. Craig thinks about how a mystical place is suited for taking one's life. He feels the salt mines are divine and peaceful, unlike the drugs he had tried, and made his mind to go bizarre. Maybe he could have overdosed. That would have been a better idea. But he still follows Jacob and others obediently. The never-ending tunnel finally terminates at a point where a narrow opening commences. Disappointed, the three life enders look intently at Jacob.